Welcome back to the series on the ball gown, and this video is the petticoat, which right here in the video I just have it pinned and draped over my dress form and over the hoop skirt. The panels aren't even sewn together, so I just took several panels, I think it was 4 panels of selvage to selvage, the full width of the muslin. I just used white cotton muslin for it. And right here, I was just trying to make sure that I had the right length-ish. And then I took it over once I made sure that that was what I wanted. Also, that I had enough in the width. And sewed the panels together with French seams. So I did the front in its 2 panels and the back in its 2 panels. So yes, it was 4 panels. And sewed those together with the French seams. And then I didn't yet sew the front and the back together. The back panels were longer because I was doing a little tiny bit of a train. And it was going over an elliptical hoop. So I wanted to make sure that I had everything the correct length. So for the French seams, I just sewed them together, wrong sides together, and then flipped them, trimmed the seams down, and sewed right sides together. Or wrong sides together. I'm all confused as to what I'm saying. This is not a French seam tutorial, but that's what I did. So here I have the panels sewn together for the front, and I'm pleating them here, but I ended up gathering it. And so just gathering it again in the back to make sure it was what I wanted. Okay, for the waistband, I hand gathered it because it was going to be such a tight gather. I was just trying to do this as simply as possible, so I literally just took straight selvage to selvage panels and then gathered them down. I didn't have a pattern for this. I was just making it up as I went along, and I knew that it was going to be tough to gather it that tightly with machine gathering stitches. So I just did it by hand and made sure it fit within the waistband that I had measured out, that I knew I needed. And I wanted the opening to be on the side, so when I sewed the front and the back together, I made sure to leave, I think it was about a 9-inch opening on one side to get it on and off. So once it was gathered down to the right size, I sewed the waistband to all the gathered edge, right sides together, flipped the waistband over, pinned it back down on the inside, and sewed that back down. And that completely encased the raw edge of the gather inside the waistband. And you will see in a minute, I also left it to where I could thread twill tape in the waistband to use as the tie. Once the waistband was done, I put it back on my dress form over the hoop skirt to make sure that it was sitting how I wanted again. I checked this a lot just because, again, I was just making it up as I went along, and I wanted to make sure it was doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So once it was the length I wanted it and laying how I wanted it and finished the waistband, I started the pleating, which I'll get to in a second, for the bottom, because I lined the whole thing in a very thick pleated section, and I love how it lays. I think it turned out really good, and I like all the gathers. So here is my method of pleating. I do not have a pleating board, and of course my phone's going off crazily right now. And I probably should make one, but I do not yet have one, and that's just not something I've had time for. So my method was what you see here. I used my metal ruler to measure out the pleats, which I'll get to in a second, pin down the middle to hold it so it wouldn't scoot down my ironing board, and then pinned the top and the bottom of each pleat, waited until I had a nice little row right there, and then ironed it down. And then I had two sections of cardboard that I was wrapping this around. The one that I had wrapped the hemmed portion that wasn't pleated, and then where you see me wrapping the done portion around, and just continued that very long process for quite a while till I had a length to go around the entire bottom of the skirt. And once that was done, sorry, I had to go break up a twin fight. I sewed it to the bottom of the petticoat. I did not finish that top edge at all. That is not hemmed. And then here you see me taking out all my pins. This was a lot of pins. But I didn't finish that edge because I had a trim that I was going to put down on top of it that you'll see in a minute. It's just a lace and organza trim that is already gathered up that I purchased as a complete trim and sewed that down top. I thought it looked really pretty and I absolutely love the end result. So that, once that is on, finishes up the petticoat. And and then one more thing, I used a lace and a gathering stitch in the back to hold the majority of the gathers for the back that are supposed to sit over the hoop and that are longer, so that it would sit the way it was supposed to over the hoop. I had a problem with the gathers falling to the front of the petticoat, and then it would show under my skirt once I got the skirt done. So that was an addition I added later, but I did put it in this video. But that finishes that up, and I'm really super excited with how, like I said, how it turned out. I think it just ended up very, very pretty. It gave me the volume I was looking for, and it worked really well. So that is it done with the lace gathering in the back, and I am really excited to move on to the next video where I actually start the outer dress for Meg's ball gown. Thanks for coming along for this, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.